Welcome, everyone. This is Liz, co founder of Real Estate Investing Women. And I've been asked a lot how real estate changed my life. Like, you see a lot of the public stuff. Obviously, you see the cars, the house, the things everyone says they share. I travel a lot, I live freedom. One of my students says, I love watching Liz live her best life. That's actually what inspired me to really get things going. And that's great. But I want to talk about what a lot of people whisper, but they don't really say out loud. Because we all say that real estate changed our life, and you see that. And I used to roll my eyes so hard when people would say that. It's like, okay, but how, right? Like, I like to know the in betweens, the how. I'm a little nosy, okay? But they weren't wrong. Real estate does change your life, and it's not just about money or houses or the really, pretty screenshots and lifestyle photos, but it really is about realizing finally I don't have to keep someone asking someone else for permission to live my damn life. It really came into a point where I felt like this confidence that had built in me. So let me take you a little back. So when I first started in real estate, I was living in Florida. I had just moved to Florida from the middle of Kansas. I was going through a divorce, and it was just one of those things where I felt like I couldn't keep up with the lifestyle here. Now, the reason I moved here is because my mom was moving here. So I had temporarily moved back in with her. She said she wanted to move to Florida. I was filled with memories of St. Louis, which is where I had temporarily moved back in with her a couple of months before the move. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to. And that was great. But when I got here and I was trying to move out, and I did move out, which I still don't understand how I swung that to even getting approved. I think I had to pay a higher deposit. But I didn't have the money to keep up with the overpriced apartment, right? To me it was overpriced, and back then I was paying 1,200 for a two-bedroom. And to me that was overpriced considering I had a full house for $750 in Kansas. So it was like it just felt very overpriced, and I had a bank account that was screaming emergency, like emergency, emergency, and credit cards that were maxed out, like they had something to prove. And it was just kind of like, what am I doing here? And I was working nonstop. I was trying to pretend that I was happy and I had it all together. But truthfully, I was really just breaking on the inside. I was suffering from panic attacks. My confidence was really like rock bottom. I tell people all the time I felt like I was digging into the rock bottom, just going deeper and deeper. And it just really struggled. And I was really just breaking on the inside. And I remember asking myself, this can't be it. I remember saying, not even asking, I was screaming, this can't be it. This can't be my life. Like I would look up to God and be like, what are you doing? Like I was so mad. Like, what am I missing here? I'm not a bad person. But to this point, I had a lot of bad shit happen to me through childhood, through adolescence, and then obviously I'm going through divorce, and that was not something you ever planned for, right? And I had a 2.5 year old, and I kept thinking someone's going to come and save me, like a mentor, a boss, a miracle, my mom, like someone. But spoiler alert, nobody does. No one is meant to save you. You're meant to save yourself. There's no knight in shining armor that jumps in. There is no boss with a raise that they could give me. At this time, it was me. I was working bare minimum for Laura because she too was building the company. And I had a laptop. And asking my mom 1,000 questions, it was getting annoying for her, right? And she had mastered real estate investing and she was more than willing to help me, but I really wasn't doing anything. I was just getting really good at Google and business work, like Googling YouTube University and business work, but I really wasn't taking what she was saying to do or what anyone else was saying to do and apply it. I just kept hoping for some quick fix, some magic eraser, something that can just stamp over, band aid basically, to my life. So as I did that and I was working doing odds and ends jobs, I was working multiple jobs, still barely making ends meet. I was just like, what in the world? And that's when I found wholesaling. So I didn't really fully understand wholesaling. Okay. I definitely wasn't ready to jump into it. I kept putting it off, but I said, screw it. At some point, I had a conversation with my mom and I said, you know what? I'm not going to keep working multiple jobs, barely surviving, dealing with the stress of no money, no income, and at that time my monthly bills were like 3,000. They weren't insane. They're definitely not what they are today. And so they weren't like this insane amount. So I was like, what is this? Like, I have a college degree. What is going on? And so I said, screw it. You bet I did. I said, screw it. And I said, I'm going to get into this. And wholesaling was like this weird magical thing where you didn't really need a lot of money, but you can make a lot of it if you're willing to figure it out and you're willing to push past the fears. That was something that I was like, I could do this. Like, I don't need any money. I just need a couple dollars to tie up the contract. Hell yeah, I'm going to do this. And the other thing was, you don't have to be perfect at it, but you have to be brave. You have to be willing to see it. And I wasn't some confident real estate mogul. I was, and not even though my mom was, but I was nervous and I was broke and I was scared. And I kept Googling things like what ARV meant and underwater property meant 17 times a day. And despite, by the way, despite growing up in real estate, I'm just going to let you know underwater property does not mean the house is underwater. Okay. And I had just, in all fairness, I just moved to Florida during hurricane season. We had just had hurricane, I think it was Irma, whatever happened in 2015 timeframe, a hurricane came through. So this came after underwater property. And I was like, what? And then my mom laughed at me. So when I say that was so new that Google was my best friend because I was too embarrassed to ask the questions, yes. But the moment I realized I know enough to solve someone's problem, get them out of the property they didn't want, and I get paid for it, you bet. It was like game on. I was going for it. So what did real estate give me particularly? Real estate didn't just pay the bills. It wasn't like it was my sugar daddy, okay? But it gave me something bigger. Oh, in a way, real estate is like a sugar daddy, but I'm my own sugar daddy, so I don't know. We'll go from that. Anyway, it gave me leverage. It gave me freedom. It gave me the kind of confidence that says I can figure anything out. Watch me. When everything is stacked up against me, I know I'll be okay. That's what real estate gave me. And you can't put a price tag on that. You can't put an amount to make because I know I'll be okay. And you know what's really nice about it? I don't have to ask my boss for time off. I don't have to check my bank account before every grocery trip or to make sure things come in that I didn't know and now I'm negative. Sound familiar? Yeah, that was me a few years ago, literally 10 years ago now. That was it. I'm not sitting on another like soul sucking meeting and wondering if this is the best it's ever going to get. The meetings I run, I want to be a part of. It's my company. It's something I have built and honestly, I have all women who work for me. I truly love my businesses. I truly love what real estate has done. And I get to do this and I get to provide for my team and their families and you can't get past that. And real estate made me realize I was the plan B. I didn't have to keep waiting for someone else to tell me what I was worth, what kind of time I could have, and I could build something, own something, and be someone. And that was really important to me. This is long before REIW came about. This was 5 years. I would think it was like 4 or 5 years before I even really started doing anything with REIW. Laura started before me and I helped her build it, but I wasn't like a coach. I was just kind of there helping her. And I didn't have it all figured out, but I really had this gut feeling. I really knew that with a little grit and a lot of trial and error and some stubborn determination passed down from my mother, thanks, Mom, I was going to make it work. And so I made a lot of moves. That do it messy method happened. I failed. I got back up. But most importantly, ladies, I decided. I drew a line in the sand and I said, I'm done waiting. I'm done doubting. I'm done living on autopilot. So if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but I'm not ready. I'm too busy. What if I fail? I'm going to be real with you here. The longer you wait, the longer you're handing your freedom to someone else. So you don't need another fucking YouTube video. You don't need another Google search. You don't need another affirmation, and I'm the affirmation queen. You need to make small moves in the right direction. That's it. One seller call, one offer, one attempt. And you're not going to get confident by thinking. You're going to get confident by doing. And it's going to be messy. It's going to be imperfect. It's going to be terrifying. But you're going to do it anyway. And I'm type A, so you know how that makes me feel. So yeah, real estate changed my life, but it wasn't easy. I didn't have it all figured out. But it finally, I just gave myself a shot. So if you're sitting on the fence and you already know what I'm about to say, this is your sign it's time to go. And if this episode hit if you liked what was said in this, I'm going to do different versions of this with what people are asking. subscribe to the podcast. You don't want to miss what's next. And if you go over to our website, realestateinvestingwomen.com, and you click on events, I have a workshop coming up, a mastermind, not even a workshop. You're not really going to do much work. Not during it anyway, but you're going to come on with a mastermind with me, my other coach Maria. My team's going to be on. I'm going to see if some students could get in, especially some of my ladies doing deals. And you're going to mastermind with women, and you're going to hang out with us. It's on May 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Um but we're just getting started here. This podcast is going to be something where I really give you guys the tactical tips. But the very first thing you need to know and realize is that you're the only one that's going to help you here. You're the only one that's going to take this action. No one's coming to save you. And so I'm going to talk a lot about this during the mastermind. Media of the Minds is what we're calling it, on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I hope to see you there. Have a good day.